Hello, hello, happy book club. Hello, happy book club. Battle Magic Day. Hi. How are you all this Wednesday? I hope you've had a better week than I did. Hello, hello. The hand is healing. Hello, welcome, welcome. The hand is healing. It is, I go big or go home is really what I have to say about this. It was a really rough one, and I think the thing I am most proud of is that I impressed all of the ER nurses and EMTs in the area that came and checked in on me. I was told over and over and over again that I needed to thank and kiss whoever taught me first aid because I saved my thumb, saved myself, and I'm just so thankful that I am very calm in a crisis, and I was able to just I was really able to keep calm, and I did a bunch of breathing exercises. So if you are ever in doubt about trying, not necessarily meditation, but any of the different ways that you learn to breathe in any of these books, highly recommend it. It definitely helped save my life. So, oh, I'm so happy everyone is here. And hello, and yes, thank you for wishing me well on the other hand. I'm learning how to do so many things with my left hand. One of the things I'm most thankful for is that I've been in the disability community for a long time and know that it's not a matter of not being disabled, it's just a matter of like when you will become disabled. It's wonderful how much I have to learn, but this does suck. Yeah, save the thumb in my life. I lost a fight with some dishes and ended up in the ER, and it was really awful and I did a lot of damage, but I made it not as bad as it could be. So that's why I had those videos today. I could not take my usual notes about this. You'll notice no tabs. I don't have really anything underlined. I'm still learning how to do things without my dominant hand. We're so glad that you're here. Hey, all. Yeah, we're just doing a quick recap of why I could not take my usual kind of notes and had to do something totally different, and why this book club might be a little different is because I'm adjusting to the use of a different set of digits. And so I did a number on my thumb this weekend, had to go to the ER. I don't quite know what's going to happen with it yet at this point in time. I did a great job with it. Apparently I did a really, really nice job saving it. I'm so thankful I come from a family of nurses, and I was talking about how, because I did a number on it, and so keeping my heart rate down was a huge deal. And being able to breathe and meditate through all of this and through all of the pain that I had to go through, if you were ever questioning whether or not it's worth it to maybe thinking about some breathing exercises on occasion that are brought up in here, it is worth it. It is worth it. It absolutely helped save my life. It was just one thing after another that happened. But I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm adapting. That's what we do in this world. We're adapting. So like when Briar had his situation in here, I felt that. Felt that acutely. I'm going to catch up on some of these comments. I'm just so happy to be here with you all. You probably put the tabs in anyway, but just not the model of good behavior while injured. I completely agree. The tabs just felt like one extra thing that I have to fight with. And recording felt like something organic that I could do, where I was going to be stopping frequently anyway, so now I'm just able to do little bits of it. And so I know I went overboard on the reactions and recorded way too much. It was 2 parts of it was so long, but I don't care. Those were kind of my notes for this book club today. So if you missed those, I recommend you go watch those after book club, because that's basically what a lot of my notes look like. are those kind of internal thoughts. Remember to provide a brief. Thank you, I appreciate that. For the battle crew magic for the replay crew, I appreciate that. Thank you for that reminder. I do need to do a battle magic recap for this. I did a Kel. She got hers in a much more fun way. Dishes are not my forte. Hello, I'm so glad everybody's here. So we're going to do a quick battle magic recap of a couple important points. It was pointed out to me that there are people who aren't able to get to the book club and don't actually read these books, but are just listening anyway, and to them I say hello, and really do deeply question what's going on, but happy you're here. Just thrilled you're here. Hope eventually you enjoy some Tamora Pierce. And so we're in Battle Magic. This one is towards the end of the Circle of Magic Universe series, and so we've done 2 quartets at this point, and we are jumping in to this next period of their lives. This one follows one of the main characters. This is one of the only men that we follow in Tamora Pierce's entire universe, Briar, and he, one of my favorites to have graced the written page. And so Briar in this is going around with his teacher and his mentee, because he is a teacher, and they battle magic. There's so much battle magic. They're plant magic, battle magic. There's so much battle magic. Their plant magic turns into essential battle magic. They get split up. What happened there? There was a lot of trauma in this. I don't feel like I can give a good summary of this book without 8 books ahead of it, so we can dive in a little bit more, but know that there was a lot of trauma in this. I'm curious. Poor Evie, yes. Poor Evie, I think going back to her home territory was very difficult for her. There are a lot of themes of PTSD, how she was getting through that. We meet a lot of really interesting characters in this. We meet a slave prince. We meet several different emperors. We go from kingdom to kingdom. We have some really incredible gardens. You feel like in every one of Briar's books, he's just going through it. I agree. All of the trauma, the worst trauma. There's really interesting uses of magic in this, and I think a lot of the core essential parts of these characters are tested through this plotline. So it's just, this one was a difficult one. Let me try to bring up this. I really liked the shift in the POVs. I thought that was really interesting, the way that it bounced around between these different characters, so we got to see the plot unfold, these characters a little bit deeper than before. The concept of Rosethorn's burden was fascinating. I completely agree with you. I have a whole new understanding of her as a character, and completely in love with her. I just, from the get-go, I was first so excited when we got her point of view, and then realized that she was carrying a lot, and that was a lot. The way that she and Briar so fiercely love each other, their relationship is one of the most precious that I've seen in all of this. Yes, the Polly, Rosethorn, and Lark, and I thought it was such an interesting choice to see that through Briar's eyes first, and him not understanding. It really goes a long way from his character development at the beginning books. I think it calls back to those bits of himself, where he even talks about how he learned to question and think differently. And what an interesting way to show this. You totally glossed over that as a kid. I think I probably would have too. No, that's not true. I don't think I would. If they, it was so explicit of them being, sleeping with both. I would have been like, all genders, hello. Learning that she's bi and in an open relationship. You did not catch that on the first read through. 10 minutes late, but you made it. So glad you made it. You just missed all the first chit chat. We're just jumping in. I gave the worst summary of this book in existence, mostly because I just can't get past the different pieces of trauma that we get through all of it. There's so many pieces of trauma. I understand why this book is not reread often. I understand why people can't get through it, and I understand why it is not usually included on people's reread list. This was dark. And I think this was one of the most recent ones that she's written as well. I know we're not reading them in publication order at the moment. We're reading them in chronological timeline order. And so there's a part of me that thinks this is reflective a little bit more of the era of YA writing at the time, that is a bit grittier. It is a bit darker. There are people waking up on piles of bodies. What? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let me get into these comments about that trauma. You forgot about that. It's been a while since you've reread it, but you were too busy to do it with this week. No, this was a little hard. This was really hard. You totally forgot about what it was until you reread it. Blocked it out. I understand. You were traumatized by the cats, and also about how Evie learned about the cats. The way Evie learned about the cats got me. That whole chapter was really difficult for me to follow as a whole, and I read it twice, and it was such a good depiction of trauma and PTSD and her disassociating. And like, I, as somebody with PTSD or former like, incredible, absolutely incredible. It was so well done. Her turning into stone, sinking into stone, not being there, and then having to deal with it. Tamora Pierce knew what she was doing there. It would have absolutely destroyed me when I was younger, and it might have now. How they learned about the atoms. Hello, oh, I'm so glad you're here. We are deep already into the trauma that was battle magic. What is this? I appreciate everybody. I'm so glad you're all here. The fact that the maid she bonded with about the cats is the one that murders them all. Yeah. There was so much. I kept waiting for the betrayal. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. And it kept doing it just a little bit. And a little bit. And then it would come out from underneath me. And then by the time you do get to the end and there is that big reveal, I felt like I was through with trapdoors. Just give me a second. You weren't planning on reading this until this morning, no matter what happened, but damn, the betrayal. Yes, there's just the constant betrayal, but it wasn't always. I thought it was going to come from Parahan. I don't know what I have it. Like, I'm gonna need some deep therapy to understand what's going on for that. I still don't trust him. I know he's a good guy and good with Evie and all of that, but there's still a part of me that's like, I'm watching you, Prince. It's the second newest one, you think. Only Numera's book is newer. Okay, so yes. I think this is fairly reflective of the era in which it was published. And I say that because it came out a little bit before I started as a bookseller, I want to say. Also, I love these maps. Not a huge fan of the font, but I do like the map. Don't like the font for that. That's not accessible. Oh, this would have come out like right as I was a bookseller. So that's why I grabbed it. Saw the cover, really thought it was Tortall. It was not. It was absolutely not. Let me see. Especially after bonding with the cats, Evie and Briar's book. The other thing about the cats that I think that we're missing is that they are an author's nightmare. they're just logistically a difficult thing. There's a part of me that's always like, oh, they'll find a way to not have the cats in some way, shape, or form. I did not expect that. That was a bridge, a little bridge not too far. It was a lot in the moment. But I think as an author, that seems like a logistical nightmare. We have 7 cats. As an author, that seems like a logistical nightmare. We have 7 cats, and we're traveling constantly. And she did it. The chicken illusion, I liked that. But overall, I knew something was going to happen to the cats. I'm catching up on these comments. I love how active everybody is in the chat. Thank you. Aww. But it also showed how steadfast the Emperor's rule was. That Emperor, he's on the biting list. I should have waited. He's on the biting list. I don't like him. That was a good villain. It was a good villain. Also, the deep dive into torture where one person pretends to be nice to break you faster. That torture scene, that's when I knew she was not messing around. Like that, there's a line that was crossed, I think, for the reader and for Evie, and that's what makes it so powerful, is that you are both experiencing this break in your reality at the same time, and this is just, I know we have more for her story, and I really want to see how it unfolds. Yes, everyone did try to tell me this one was dark. This one was dark, and it delivered. The corpse pile of bodies. Ow, yeah, that got me. No thanks on that. The next one is 2, keep the tissues handy. That's okay. Because I know they all get together in the next one. And I've been waiting for that for so many books. I just want them all together again at this point. Okay. Going back on these. I love all these comments. Please keep them coming. You definitely thought also that's where the betrayal was coming from, even though you read this before. I thought it was well written in. I don't know if that was necessarily her intention, but at this point I felt like we were primed for one of the confidants, one of the close, trusted men with a little bit of power to betray them. You don't think the next one is as bad as this one was? Okay. Melting Stones and Empress come after. This one feels really new. I think at this point I'm very glad we're reading them in this order, because I didn't feel like there was anything in this book that I didn't already know, and so I didn't feel like I was missing a component of the story. And so if we get to the next ones and they reference this book, I will be very pleased and appreciative. Ooh, has anyone overlaid all of these maps to make them line up? That's a brilliant idea. I did think about that in not necessarily overlay the ones from the Circle of Magic, but the ones of Circle of Magic onto the Tortal ones. When there was the line about cursing your lands to be desert, I was like, oh, well, I know some lands that are very deserty. And I just nerded out for a moment in my conspiracy theories. Okay, let's see here. They could have sent the cats with the traitors too, but Evie could have sent them without her. And now, I didn't even think about that. She could have, but also I don't know if the cats would have parted from her. But there were so many opportunities to get rid of the cats that were in this way. I think it was a very powerful device. Different cats were brought up at different points throughout the rest of the story as a point of motivation. So I think there were reasons, but none of them. On the list with, yes, with order on bite. Yes. That bite list. You think they're differently dark, less torture, more PTSD. Oh, delightful. The difficulty changing in bathing. Yes. I get that. Also mad about the description of Luvo being ignored, that you're drawing your own. Please do. Please do draw your own. Please, if you're ever willing to share it. Fan art is something that is severely lacking in all of Tamora Pierce's works. There are, of course, a couple of really prolific artists, but overall, more. We need more. Especially Circle of Magic, especially later Circle of Magic. Empress isn't as bad as this one, but it's still angsty. Ooh, the Yak God! Oh, you need a visual of it with it on Evie's back. So, the Yak God, that whole thing really reminded me of Toph. And I just kind of pictured Toph on top of the Badger or on top of Appa. Was very much my visual. For a lot of Evie's work, I've just been thinking a lot of Toph, but if you shove Toph in, like, Korra's Spirit Realm storyline. I know none of that makes any sense, but that was the general vibe I got through those chapters. You think Empress is very a grape culture. I appreciate that heads up, and also it's something I think Tammy is equipped to deal with. I think she's done it in other books. I'm really interested to see how it's approached in Will of the Empress. You do know that Empress mentions this one via Briar having nightmares and being very traumatized. Oh, I mean, yes, I would be having nightmares and being traumatized in here too. This was very dark. You wanted to draw a version of all the maps for each setting and then join them into one giant world. That's a brilliant idea. Please do. Please, please, please do. That is so cool. I would love to see how you do that too. A lot of things in Empress and Melting Stones makes more sense after seeing Battle Trauma. Okay, Battle Magic Trauma. Alright, so there's a reason why it was voted mostly first. The vote was split 50-50. And so I went with the chronological order one because no matter what the vote was, it was not going to be in publication order, and that's what I usually read in. So I defaulted to the next choice. With marriage and inheritance things. Okay. Maybe you blocked out all the bad until the reread. You don't think Evie could have used her magic to kill without the hate from the cat murder? I think that's a very valid point. I think that Evie really did jump back to that over and over again. And I think she did it too in moments of hope, which was really interesting. She referenced them in moments of like, oh, this person really liked my cats, or this person gave me this cat. And so there was a moment of hope too. But she also called upon their death in anger, in revenge. And so I love that duality. It's just hard because, like, how do you draw a gemstone and make it look like a gem still? I need a Roof of the World gem, too. Yes, upgrade the computer. It was definitely a major turning point for Evie. This book really seemed like a major turning point for all of them. One of the things that I loved the most was that I now question everything I know. Not everything I know about Rose Thorn, but because we have her POV in this, I'm now looking back on everything we've already done with her in such a different light. And that can be such a tricky thing to accomplish, but I think this internal monologue that she had really was able to reflect on. I was able to continue it. And as I reflected on everything. And so a lot of the things that she did, her demeanor, started to make sense in a different way. And so she didn't feel as cold. There were moments where she really did question herself. And I thought that that was such a unique writing feature that we haven't had with many other characters. And I'm hoping we get that with Lark, too. Let me see. The one thing that you thought was really unique was that Evie was the only one who was concerned about the innocence and childhood of the God King. That is fascinating. I completely agree with you. I think the God King, well, concerned about it, yes. I will also say I think that others really did think about it, and we saw that because I think Briar especially, and I think maybe not Rosethorn, but definitely Briar thought about him as a child, and really at the end there are a couple of moments where he thinks about him like, this is the most adult I've ever seen him. But I do like that Evie is the one trying to preserve that childhood and that innocence, and at the same time not treating him like a king. I think that ties to her empathy. One of my favorite moments was Briar thinking about how when he needed to go through the gates, he needed to pet the stone tigers because that's what Evie would have wanted. And I was just like, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you for throwing the Discord in the chat. If you are hanging out on our book club and haven't joined the Discord, please come. Follow, do all of the things. We hit 2,000 followers this week, so that's something to celebrate. I cannot believe that. I can believe that there are 2,000 people who love Tamora Pierce and are happy to follow along. And so, love that people are here for book club, Battle Magic. Join us on the Discord. I'll have it pulled up in the moment. We have a schedule going on too. I can get to that a little later on. I want to get through some more of these comments about the book. The one thing you thought that was really unique... Okay, yes, we did that one. Rosethorn's boy. Oh. He will be forever her boy. I thought about that so much. I recorded a little piece of it for that video where I talked about how my heart just, like, I love it. Every time Rosethorn thought or called him her boy, my heart just grew 1,000%. And then they had a scene later on about it, and he was like, don't call me that. Forever. She will forever be a family. That's one thing I love about this, is that they are really exploring all of the different ties that you have with family. It's not just these forged families of 6 teenagers getting together, and one of them kind of has to fill a mother role, another one has to fill the trickster role, another one has to be the heart of the group. This one is like very clearly, I'm treating you like my heart child. They call Briar Rosethorn's heart child at one point, and that I loved that phrasing. I love that. Okay. Rosethorn snips of trauma when she was in that altered state. Yes. That hurt. That hurt. Especially the one that got me the most was when she realized it was Briar, and then she flashed back and thought about her father. And it's just these moments over and over again where you see her a little bit more, and just another like layer of that rose, another piece of that rose. I'm sure there's a better metaphor with thorns here. Another one of her thorns coming off or something, but you're getting to know her more. It was a lot. Show the fake love. Let's see, the paintings of minor gods teasing him during the king sessions, like the gods are helping him be a kid. We need to talk about these paintings, because yes, I love that. Like those, I love how playful they were. But what? We have gone so far into this series without serious divine intervention. And I think she did an okay job trying to build up the mystery around it. It seems like they're going to lose their memory a little bit, but she's bringing back a god. There's some divine intervention now. And so I'm curious what other people have to say about that, because I didn't feel like I didn't feel ready for it. I think we had 1 or 2 lines in one of the other books about Guangxi, I think is how it's pronounced, like that area being mystical and things happening there, but not expecting Not expecting the level of things that we got. Let's see. Like, the underlying question of Evie was like, does he get to be a kid? Does he get to play? Yes! And I think that reflects all of the things that are important to Evie, too. Or the things that Briar let her preserve in some certain ways. And so the same way that Rose Thorn is mentoring Briar, is mentoring Evie, is mentoring God King. And this beautiful cascade all the way down. Hello, Ella! I don't know. I don't know many people. I don't really have a house. Last weekend, I was in the ER. As we've been here. Let's see. You think of Marie Antoinette as a child running around with her siblings and tiny Mozart. Oh. I could totally see parts of that. You really need to write down Rose Thorn's visions to see if they line up with the events of other books. Still for you know. Oh, that's such a great idea. I'm going back and letting it all process. I think that's a brilliant idea, to write down Rose Thorn's visions and see if they line up with the events of other books. That did cross my mind, but not the idea, of course, to write it down and cross-reference. I don't know if there are going to be more. That'd be interesting. And thank you all for the glitter and hats and things like that. I don't know much about live, but they're fun. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone being here. This is my favorite part of the day. And thank you again for the Discord. The spider people. And skull snakes, etc. They were all hiding in plain sight. It was the thing I thought about the most was Korra in that series. Korra and Avatar and the Spirit Realm, and there was such a duality to all of their stories as this very gritty, real-world battle played out in one for Briar and Rose Thorn. You had Evie going through this very esoteric, ethereal adventure where she's meeting all sorts of creatures that we never heard of before, haven't really explored this religion before. There was so much of it that felt like it was violating all of the rules about the Avatar that I knew beforehand and setting its own course. I was still thinking about whether or not I liked it, because there was a part of me that really loves the fantasy. I love the fantasy. I love thinking through, how do these snakes look? How do they glisten because of the materials that they're made of? What would Daja do if she were there? Would Daja be able to control them or call to them in a certain way because of her metal skills? Would it be similar to the way the mountain calls to Evie? Lots of questions. Lots and lots of questions. It helped that everyone got from the not from that area was like, what the fuck is going on? Yes. That was helpful. One trope that I don't particularly like that was used in this is the idea of I'm seeing things, or we're all kind of seeing things and nobody's talking to each other. And I get that that's probably real life, but at the same time, it's not my favorite. I just think that it's a miscommunication trope by omission. Oh, part of your comment didn't go through. Let me see. Oh, the Mozart who trips and falls on his ass and bursts into tears because he may have been a prodigy, but also the Naga. Yep. The Naga. Absolutely. Thoughts on gods versus the immortals in Tortall? That's a really good question, because that's something that I thought a lot about in here, and I have been thinking a lot about in this series overall. And one of the main things that I have noted have thought really distinguished these two series is that one of them has a lot of divine intervention and then the other one does not. Religion works differently. And this book threw everything to the wind for that. Like, I had a part of a script ready to go, and now I need to reevaluate. This is why I don't put out a lot that contains both or Circle of Magic things, because I'm wrong. I'm very wrong about a lot of things. And so, and I don't mind being wrong. I actually love being wrong. So this one I'm very, very wrong about, and I need to rethink all of it. And I think that there would be crossover in my head, because I'm still, my big conspiracy is that they're actually linked. And I could see these immortals being being part of the crossover aspects. I love the idea that the mountain gets bored. Love the idea that sometimes they just create themselves. I like those glasses a lot more than mine. I love this idea that there are different tiers. Like, there are spirits. I don't feel like we're completely discussed. There's spirits, there's lesser gods, there's mountain gods. I want more specificity. If we're going to introduce all of these different layers, I need more. We've had all of this time. Give me more. But I do think I enjoyed it, because I do think I enjoy those pieces, and I love learning about the religions, the cultural aspects, the anthropology of it all, the sociology of it all. I want to nerd out about it. But we'll keep going. I hope it shows up more in the rest of them. But my thoughts, that still doesn't answer your question, I'm realizing. The thoughts on the gods versus the immortals, could they be the same? Maybe. So far, I want more from Circle of Magic. And that has been, I think, my overarching critique of this series, if I have to put my, critique hat on. And I just want more. And a lot of that I know is just that those books weren't written to be more. Those books were written to be young adult books. And they are starting to get a lot thicker with more of it, more opportunities for more to happen. But if we're going to introduce this intricate religion and god system, give me more of it. Don't keep it as a secret, the whole book. She heard Nico at one point in time carrying the burden. You wanted to see if it fits in with the shattered glass. Yes. That is a really great idea. I really loved that moment when she was hearing things on the wind. Her whole side quest with the Holy Grail was very bizarre to me. I know that they needed to be separated in order for all of those things to happen. And I understand that Rosethorn was the right person to do it. But it just, I don't know if it felt incredibly authentic to the storyline and to the plot. Also, do we have any... Ooh, we'll finish. Okay, I'm ignoring that, Reese. It's fun that so many religions and languages are all in one place. So many words for mage. Yes! And keeping track of them was tricky. So, as you all probably know, that every other week we are shifting to not just talking about one book every other week, and on the in-between weeks we're talking about a different theme. And so next week we are going to talk about culture and languages, and that'll span over all of Tamora Pierce's books. And so yes, I will be missing out, especially on Melting Stones. I'll try to read Will of the Empress before then, but I make no promises. As we've established on the Discord, we are all last-minute readers. So, make no promises. But next week, let's talk about culture and languages. And what really inspired me was this book. There were so many different cultures, so many different languages, all coming together at the same time. I need a spreadsheet. There are so many great words for mage, too. Rosethorn was fully healed by the package she was carrying. It was slow, but Briar noticed. Yes. I kept waiting for something to happen after that. Like, when the pack is gone, does she go back? But I think I understand why you would want to use it as that sort of literary device in order to have her fully healed, but I don't know if I celebrate that decision. I liked that she had she died. There were consequences to that, and I liked that. And I liked that it wasn't magically healed without a quest of some sort, but you're making me think now. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. You're making me think. Okay, I'm catching up on these comments. I love that you all are jumping in here. This is perfect. There was so much to say about this book. Okay. Still for you know. Okay, it's going down. Thank you for putting the Discord in the comments again. I appreciate that so much. It's fully healed. Yes, it made you think of, I don't know if I can say that on TikTok Live, I hate that, being the holy place of so many religions, and having the different layers that go into that. I loved the communication, like how do we get communication to different places. I loved the dedication of the dedicates. Also, there was a lot of strife, and I would be really curious around the rebuilding of that, and how does one come out the other side of this sort of battle. I think that was a really good point to make, the Ace fangirl. Thank you. It was giving more monks in Tibet. Yes. I think it was too. At one point in time, I was really sus about the river dancer character. There are a lot in Tamora Pierce's books. There's a lot of what I feel like is cultural tourism that occurs, and I did feel like there was some of that happening in here. And perhaps that is coming out of my own ignorance. But I wasn't thrilled with some of the cultural depictions in this book. Just as I think the rest of them deserve critical eyes, everybody's work deserves critical eyes in that sense as well. But I do think, like, the sky burials, she was definitely trying for a particular culture, and I do think it was Tibetan culture. You don't think that they're linked, not in the two sides of the same planet. That's fair. I don't know if I think they're two sides of the same planet, or if I think that they are in different time, like there's just one long timeline, or if they are realms of different sort. I don't know. And I don't think, honestly, I do not think Tamora Pierce had any intention of connecting them. I don't. This is my wild theory. What I really think happened is that between the two, she tests ideas and theories. And I think she used the Circle of Magic series to do a lot of that exploration and testing of ideas before she wrote them into the Tortall books. I think there are just a lot of not quite fully developed ideas in some of the Circle books that we do see way more fully developed in the Tortall books a couple of years later. And so that's my conspiracy theory around how they're connected. But it'd be fun if they were actually connected. You think it's a time difference? That makes, yeah, that would be for me how they would be connected. It would be some sort of time difference. And I think there would also need to be some sort of like great event, and we have the Immortals War that we see, but then we know that there was an event 300 years before when they were sealed. It's a conspiracy for another time. You almost feel like it's a Roman versus Greek gods type of thing. That's a brilliant way to put that. Love that. I love that. That's a brilliant way to put that. It's probably more accurate. Usually, yes. Palantine. On the brain at the moment, absolutely. Yes. I kind of wish Rosethorn had something difficult happen on her journey. It really did feel like just a plot device to separate them. I completely agree. It did feel a lot. It did feel like just a plot device to separate them. I don't know if that whole storyline could have happened, like, needed to happen. Not just Rosethorn's, but everybody's different piece. Tamora Pierce writes such impactful stories that go into such detail, but at the same time, say so many different things at the same time. You did like Briar's, find your vows, I'm not religious. I swore no vows. That is one of the lines I tried to underline. Did not go well, but I did. That one's such a good one. Let me catch up on these. You love the quote early where she left some part of herself in the dead realm as a promise to return. I completely agree. That whole paragraph. I love the way that they talk about death and her whole time there. Hilary Duff are the glasses, in case you're wondering. Just to make a millennial out of myself even more so, yes. They're Hilary Duff. They're phenomenal. Most of her stuff's really cute. You think it's important to recognize that coming back has effects. I completely agree. She died. It's definitely Tibet because the region is based in China. Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I know there are a lot of things I'm just ignorant about that she probably researched into. I definitely, with the River Dancer, I definitely got jingle dress at one point. I was like, oh, that's not what I expected. The Tibet has the sky burial. It's the only place that does. Yes, that was the thing that sealed it for me. Y'all talked about Rosethorn. Talking about Rosethorn is making me motivated to get caught up with the book. Please do. Rosethorn has I wasn't ready for Rosethorn's perspective on all of this. I wasn't ready for it. I'm really glad that I have it. She is suddenly my favorite character in this entire series. I've always really loved her, but being able to see the inside makes her make sense in all of the ways that didn't or felt one-dimensional for her now have such depth. Love my shirt, thank you! Love it! Love the Slayer. Love the Slayer. I like thinking they are across the ocean for fanfic purposes only. That makes sense. I like that. You found the concept of the temples warring amongst themselves interesting. I did too. I thought that there was a lot of religion aspects of this that I've been craving in the other books that I wish was just sprinkled in a little bit more. Like Rosethorn's dedication to the temples and the living circle as a whole, we do see that, but I wish we saw more moments of that or more definable qualities of that throughout all of it. You do love how much the more powerful the combined shaman work was. I did like that too. I do think that there's something... Shamans as a whole, the concept in literature, I just kind of cringe at a little bit. I understand this was a time, a place, and an era, but I wish more of them had names, or it was defined, or I felt like I wanted to... Not like I wanted to learn more, because I did, but I wish it would have driven me in a direction to do more research, instead of just being so generic overall that I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's Tibet. Or for a while, I did think that there was a portion I was like, oh, are they just randomly inserting jingle dress dancers into this? But I wish there was more literary moments that I was like, oh, she totally based this off of this piece of reality that now I can go look up, that I think she does in a lot of her other books, but I didn't feel that as strongly in parts of this book for certain characters of this book. I think it was trying to do a whole lot at once. If they lost, they would have worshipped the winner's gods. If they lost, they would have worshipped the winner's gods. I think that that's an interesting hypothetical. Because does that happen when they're taken over? Or do we know enough about the gods of this realm to really say that they do? Or they can take it over? I don't feel like we know enough about the different gods in order to say that. Or enough about the people to say that. For the hand issues I've had while I've been using a reading stand that holds the book open for me. Ooh, that's a really good idea. I've been adapting well enough. For me, the big thing is not being able to write or underline precisely. That part's really frustrating, and so I'm trying to get around that. But there are tons of different ways to do that. I still have all these lovely fingers, so I will figure out a way. I'm trying to approach it as a brain exercise. I will wield my sword in another way. But the reading stand idea is a really good one. Also the parallels between the God King and the Dalai Lama and the power conflicts, past and modern. Yes, there's so much. I don't feel like I made it clear enough earlier. Free Palestine. If you're not on board by these books. Stand by that firmly, I think. Let's see. They do. I think that one of the things about Tammy's books that she does really well is she taps into these core ideas of power. Like, what is power? How do people wield power? What does war look like at these different levels? And I think her answer to a lot of these questions is both and. So we have healers and warriors, and sometimes that's the same person. You have people who are full of rage and full of empathy. You have people who have been wronged by individuals and nations. You have people who are so afraid and brave. And I think that the idea that there's armies and a garden at the Emperor's Palace. Like, all of these things, I think her answer is both and to a lot of these big questions. I think she sees what's happening in the world, and then she asks questions that are core to humanity, and then tries to reflect them in stories, and I think that's what makes a really good storyteller, and we see that in a lot of her stories. This book reminded me a lot of Lady Night in that sort of grand scale way. There's individual microscopic impacts to these grand scale wars that we're having. It's not just Alana and John sitting in the war room. It's not just the Duke or the God King. Sometimes it's Evie and her cats. So I think she does that really well. She explores power really, really, really well. And this Battle Magic does that. I'm sorry, y'all. My rant. I need to pull it together. I am passionate about this one. The parallels. Okay, we did that one. I appreciate you all so much. I'm just so happy to be able to be here to talk to all of you and nerd out about our favorite things. It was also so interesting how distressed Briar was with the Skybarrier because it was complete opposite to his. Yes, I thought that was so interesting too. And I think there are a lot of moments like that one that came down to culture differences, and we see how much Briar has grown throughout all of his travels, where that's where he's starting to recognize it as. And he's still at his core, in that moment, in that exchange, he's still concerned about the dignity and the humanity of that person. And I just love him for it. I'm going to catch up on some of these comments. I appreciate you all staying through my rants. It's also very opposite to his magic connections to plants. Yes, you do like that she described the dance magic in such detail after Sandry's student. I agree. I thought of Sandry's student all the time with his poncho. Oh, no. Why did I forget his name? This is embarrassing. I can see it, but I can't say it. I know that there's a thing for that. And everyone's going to tell me in the comments about it. But I thought of him so often, and I thought about Pasco. There we go. I thought about Pasco so often because there were so many different dances that happened in this that had magic in them that he would have really benefited from learning about. Yeah, it stated that that's what happens when temples war. It was something I said in the book. Yep, you brought a cheap easel that sits on the table and it works well. That's such a great idea. I love that for a reading stand. Brilliant. Have I thought about the highlighter tape stuff? That's a really good idea. I have not thought about that. I do like that, though. Once I convinced myself it was a decent idea to make a video out of my notes, I was like, we're doing that. But I would prefer to have more of a lasting and tactile highlight and workaround for my books. So I appreciate that suggestion. Briar thought it was a peaceful country, but in reality, they were just war amongst themselves. Yes. I completely agree with that, and I think that the notion of the plants, the garden, the thing that drew him in, the thing he loves the most, was this facade, a cover for all of this deep-seated violence and unrest. And yes, Curiosity Caddy. Oh, yes. You love how they were just like, why would we fight in winter? Yeah. There are so many moments I'm like, oh, do you just stay here? Briar thinking that battle mages and healing mages were separate because of knowledge and not because of the exhaustion and their struggle to do both. This battle healing duality is something we see a lot in Tamora Pierce's work. And I think she makes it clear in a lot of her work that the healing mages see devastation in a way battle mages can't imagine, and battle mages see devastation in a way healing mages can't imagine, and there are plenty of people who can and do both. And bless those people. And Tamora Pierce has such a healthy respect for healing. I think a lot of that has to do with her younger sister being a paramedic, and that's whom she based Alana off of. Pasco, thank you. The funny part was when one person looking at Briar's tattoo and being like, did you intend to cover X tattoo thing? They knew. They called him out. I love Briar's tattoos. I thought that he was... He is one of my favorite Tamora Pierce characters. The more I dig into it, like main characters. Rosethorn. I want to classify her as a main character, but I think the 4 are the main characters for these. And then there are like the secondary main characters, and that's what she falls under. But Briar is precious. Do you think that the students ever get in contact? They better. First, well, the will of the Empress, I think we get the foursome together again. I want all of the students to get together. I need a big reunion. I really want to know what Tamora Pierce had she envisioned for the rest of their series, the rest of their lives. I would love to see them show up in other quartets that focus on other people years down the line, the same way that we get with the ones in Tortal. I'm such a sucker for that kind of storytelling. Parahan clocking Briar immediately. Oh, I know. Parahan, I don't know what it is about him. Maybe because he's my competition with Rosethorn at this moment. I don't know. Hello, hello! Welcome to everybody who's joining and hanging out. We're talking about battle magic. The dichotomy is also shown in Alana's ability to do great harm, but also bring great healing. Points! Yep, that is one of the... That's a main one. That's absolutely a main one. She is, for me, she is that duality, that both and. I cannot wait. Keeping myself from squealing with delight over the idea that we all get to hang out and talk about those books. We'll get there. We'll get there. Somebody pretty sure Evie meets Pasco just because she goes home with him, but Triss and Daja... Students, maybe not. Maybe when they are adults and travel to visit them in summer seas. This feels like it's ripe for some fan fiction. This feels really ripe for some fan fiction. On the bright side, you know Rose Thorn's open relationship means that you got a chance. I do not have a chance in hell with that woman, but we can pretend. We can pretend. I really just love her. And the more we get to know her, the more, like, can I be you and why grow up? Even though I think we're around the same age. She's just so more accomplished. One of the thoughts I had today while finishing up the book was that I was so glad that I got Alana when I was younger. And I'm so thankful I have Rose Thorn now. Evie's reaction to telling Other about Briar's tattoos, it makes him more human to her, less big. Yes! Brings him down to earth a little bit. I think it shows off who Briar really is at his core. Like, he still wrestles with his past a little bit, those pieces of himself, but he's trying to cover it up with something beautiful and full of life, something that's ever changing, and he didn't think the thing all the way through before he did it, but his intention was good. It was there. I love it. It's a brilliant story. An absolutely brilliant story. I have so appreciated everyone who's been coming for book club this week. We have gotten through so much. I'm so glad that we've shifted to this format because we've used this entire hour to talk about battle magic without a moment's hesitation. So with that, we do have a schedule for at least until November. And so next week we're going to talk about culture and language in all of Tortall. Well, not just Tortall, but all of everywhere. I'm trying to pull up the mild calendar that I made. Oh, okay. Would you all like to see Faithful for a moment before he bites me? Wow. He says hello. Thank you. Came out right for the end. Good for him. He's so perfect. Briar also just being so done with explaining himself. Absolutely. You know what? Don't blame him. Yes. I don't blame him either. He's been a little needy, so I'm okay with it. He doesn't like being held. I don't blame him at all. I'm so glad everyone's here. Okay, so if you haven't joined the Discord but would like to, please do. The link has been in the chat. It's also in the bio. We would love to have you. Please follow along. We're going to have so much more. I am back reunited with my books. And so we'll have more videos. This is going to be hanging out for a while. So get ready. We have healing. I wish I could heal like Alana. That would be great. So I am going to do a video soon about a little calendar that I've put together because we're alternating every week between reading a book and talking about a general topic. And so next week we're talking about culture and language, and that's going to cross all of the universes. Culture and language. I want to talk about like a little bit about what we mentioned today about the culture of voyeurism, but also about how it introduced different cultures. I know it did for me, and it made me really interested and research a lot of different cultures and ideas. I know these topics can be a little sticky. I am fine with jumping into them. I would love to jump into them with all of you. That's the tricky part about all of this. And so language cultures. Let's talk about trader talk. Let's talk about the different languages that show up here. Let's talk about the Vizier. Let's talk about the Yamani cultures. Let's talk about all of it. I'm so in about how it impacted us, the culture we want to build. I don't know. We're going to leave it open, but we're going to do culture and language. Then, on September 3rd, Will of the Empress. It's going to be a doozy. I know I will probably leave it to like the day before, but I'm going to try not to. The spicy brain enjoys urgency. So, we'll see. But I don't know. The back of it kind of describes how I'm feeling. Long-awaited, highly anticipated, The Circle Reforged. 4 mages, 1 destiny, no turning back. Get them together. So, this is going to have to wait until September, the first week of September. We have until then to read it. And then I'm just going to do a quick rundown. Relationships in Forged Family, Melting Stones. Then we're going to talk about magic, circle recap, and like prep for Tortal. I think that magic is a good way for us to bridge, magic is a good topic for us to bridge these 2 worlds and talk about how they're different, how the same. We've been talking a lot about that already, but I think it's a good in for us to kind of do a recap and then prep for Tortal. And that means we're going to start our Tortal reread October 1st. And as a reminder, we're going to do it in chronological timeline order, and we're starting with Becca's books. So we're doing Becca's books throughout October. And so the topics that we have right now, October 1st is going to be Terrier. Then the next week we're going to talk about justice and policing. Hey. Then we're going to talk about Bloodhound on the 15th. The next week, the 22nd, will be Death and Mourning. And then the last week of October, we're going to talk about Mastiff. So I'm hoping those topics correlate fairly well with the books that we are reading or have just read, and it all kind of ties together. That's as far as I've gotten at this point in time. But the rest of it will be coming out soon. But I know if you're trying to figure out what you want to read, we have at least through November some plans. And so, honestly, this is the best part of my week. I'm so thankful to have you all around. Becca, yes! Loving the timeline. I'm loving the timeline too. I promise, I have like 3 versions of a calendar, but I come from a communications background, so in my head, I'm like, if I don't have the perfect branding and perfect this and I shouldn't even put it out. So once I get over myself, I'll have like actual material, I promise. Grieving might be a better topic after Mastiff. I'm back and forth on that. But yes. I have been thinking about that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. So excited. I'm so excited that other people are excited for this. I know a lot of people love Circle of Magic, and I have been loving Circle of Magic too, but I'd be a liar if I didn't say that this is what's keeping me fueled. It's going to be great. I am going to annoy the hell out of everyone's feeds because it's just going to be nonstop of all of this. There's so many topics. I cannot wait to annotate. I think, yes, I just have so many plans. So I'm going to savor this while we have it and also be excited about that. Mastiff has a lot to say about grieving and guilt surrounding it. That's a really good point. And that is kind of what I was thinking about that and the different depictions. That's a good idea though. We'll keep thinking on it. We still have a couple of weeks until we have to figure it out. That's okay. You're going to be annoying the entire month of September. Be annoying the entire month of September. Do it. These are worth it. I'm really, really enjoying these so far. I see why they're so loved. I do love them. this whole experience has made me love them even more. Your favorite is Protector of the Small Quartet. Kel is so amazing. Oh, I love Kel. Absolutely. I cannot wait to get to her books. It's going to be a little while. The whole series does, but do you think it culminates in Mastiff? I completely agree with you. There are so many pieces in Mastiff. There's so many different kinds of grief in Mastiff that are approached. I think it is a good idea. I'll keep thinking about it. This is the kind of back and forth I really appreciate. And so I'm so happy that you all are here. Welcome all. You're reaching us towards the end of the live as you're coming in, swooping in at the last minute here. We're talking about the plans going forward, how we're alternating different weeks. The other thing I haven't mentioned is that I've started going live a little bit more randomly too, because the TikTok gods have demanded an every 5-day situation. I'm a tiny creator, and so if I don't use all of these features that they want me to use, then they start taking them away from me. And so after I woke up one morning to hey, you better start going live every 5 days or we're going to take it away from you, I've been panicking a little bit more into that. And so be on the lookout for some lives. Also, it is wild what the algorithm pushes out. I have started doing a couple of not Tortall or even book-related content just to keep some of my views up. And it has worked. Woo! Was not expecting some of the reception. They're still... I was not expecting some of the reception for a couple of the videos. And so I am trying to do all of this to keep it together for our book club. It's the best part of the week. Best part of the week. Oh, and yes, hello new friends. If you want to catch up on the lives, they are posted on YouTube afterwards. Eventually. Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate that. I so appreciate it. Yes, it just came up on your FYP first videos of yours. Well, welcome, Kim. Welcome to book club. We do this every week. We are switching off between reading one book a week, and then we're talking about a topic the next week. So we just finished Battle Magic this week, and next week we are going to talk about culture and language in all of Tamora Pierce's books. And so please join us for that. I also go live randomly. I try to post at least twice a day for all things Tortall, but I'll occasionally throw in some random videos. And so I appreciate everyone who's here. I'm so excited that people are joining. I'm so sorry that I can speak. I'm so glad that your app is hopefully not glitching anymore. But I'm sorry that it has been. Hopefully it's not mine. I had that issue before. You literally crushed all the Song of the Lioness books and the Immortal since you started posting. Ah, yes! I'm so glad, Coffee Blonde, that you're rereading those. I hope to inspire so much rereading for these series. I think they are a slept-on series. As soon as people are reminded of them, they're like, that was one of my favorites. Thank you, B. Oh, I'm so happy that everyone was here. I'm going to hop on the Discord after this. My response time is rather slow at the moment, but I'm learning. I'm so thankful y'all are here. I'm going to try to get more of these uploaded. This has been phenomenal. I will see you all hopefully next week for culture and language, and hopefully before then with one of the other just random lives. I think you're going to inspire people to read them for the first time too because of your enthusiasm. Ooh, thank you. Oh, and what's the next book? The next book is Will of the Empress. Will of the Empress. I'll try to make a video about it too. There's been a lot more interest in book club. So I'm so thankful for all y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week this week, and shake off Battle Magic. I'll talk to you all soon.